bend the knee for them, then they're going to leave you out here with nothing. And if you don't fight back, then it will continue to happen.
But we have to stand up and say, if I lose everything, I don't care. I have to speak up for what's right.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Damon K. Jones here, and welcome to another episode of the Publisher's Desk for Black Westchester Magazine, powered by blackwestchester.com. And tonight, we sit down with Zoe Leigh, founder of Chicago Flips Red, and Danielle Carter, one of its leading grassroots voices, to discuss their organization in holding the government accountable in Chicago and Cook County through live streams and protest coverage, direct reporting, and holding the Chicago government accountable
on the planet. And it's run by a democratic machine. And you guys have been doing this for decades. You guys have been taking our generational wealth. The blacks helping as well. And it's going to stop.
So I just want to know, because we just came from the city council meeting, we come in there and the city is blaming the county, and now you just blaming Springfield. And then when you, all these people, when they go to these town hall meetings and you send your puppets, they lie and they blame the invisible white man. Somehow they are pushing us out of our community. They want our property. They want black people property. They never say who it is. They just say, you know who they are. But when I come up in here, I see all black faces. I see Democrats. So are we talking about the Democrats are pushing black people out of their communities?
Chicago Flips Red gives residents a front row access to giving voice to power. And that's what we need, not just in Chicago. We need it all over in black communities and black cities. And let's welcome our sisters right now. Welcome, sisters. How you doing?
Hello, hello, hello.
We was having a great, listen, people that's watching, we was having a great conversation before the show. And I just want to continue that energy before the people in Westchester. Please let them know who you are. And what is Chicago Flips Red? Because see, we're in a blue state over here in New York. We don't know what some of us just don't watch, news outside of what they give them. Let the people who is Chicago Flips Red?
Chicago Flips Red is a conservative. Like I said, I'm gonna say two things. It is the new Republican Party, and this is a conservative group that's led by, black women. Black women that are entrepreneurs and saw the injustices in the entrepreneurship game when it came to us. And also we saw the injustices in the theft of our properties and the displacement of America, but primarily Black America, and I don't think a lot of people realize how much trouble we are in. Black America, foundational Black America, freedmen, that's what we're supposed to be called in the right. Constitution. So we're a freedmen-led conservative movement out of the city of Chicago that fights corruption and gives the people transparency and points out the hypocrisy and both parties, however, in the establishment. And right. We are staunch. I'm a big supporter of President Donald Trump, and that is because of his economic plan. And if anybody read the book Art of the Deal, they would understand why a businessman or business person that is America first needs to run the country and the states and the city.
And Go ahead.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, we are here to show and wake America up, but especially our communities, that if we don't get it together, guys, we are being replaced. We are being replaced with illegal aliens. And we talked about this and showed this with Rahm Emanuel. He was a mayor, our former mayor of Chicago, and they rolled out the New Americans plan, which was our replacement. And everything you see that's happening right now in America, in our communities, was what they had rolled out with the New Americans plan. So we are here to warn the community, warn the people, warn especially Black Americans, freedmen, that if you don't get it together and stop voting Democrat, that it's over for you. We don't have long at all.
Now let me listen. I've said the same thing, right? I've said the same thing. Were y'all guys always Republicans, or were you Democrats? And then you saw what was happening in the city in Chicago, and then you moved to Republicans. How did that come about? How did Chicago Flips Red come about? When dealing with basically a blue city.
Well, let me say this, because mine is going to be quick. I always was a Democrat. We was never taught about policies, to look at policies. We were never educated on that. We were just taught in my community, in my home, to vote blue no matter who. Democrats were for the Black citizens, and Republicans were rich, white, racists. That's what we were taught in our community. And so I was always Democrat until I start educating myself and looking up researching policies. When I researched for myself and looked up policies, and I'm a Christian as well, it was no way I could believe that I was aligning myself with, first of all, something I don't believe in at all as being a Christian, because everything is anti-God. And I couldn't believe that I was aligning with my own demise. So yeah, when I educated myself on policies, that's when it was like, it's no way I can be a Democrat. And I align myself more so with the Republican values and their policies.
Joe?
I come from the entertainment world. I thought I was going to be a comedian. Well, I am a comedian, but I thought I'd be writing for Saturday Night Live or something. I never was political, never cared about politics, didn't care about any of those things until the city of Chicago unlawfully demolished my godfather's business that's been in his family since 1966. He's 82 years old. And my mom, who helped my godfather save his building from them trying to take it with fraudulent taxes, and my mother put it in her nonprofit so he didn't have to pay taxes. And then she started investing and helping rehab, and they knocked it down, and my mother didn't get lost her money. And when I went down there and I saw that the city of Chicago elected officials, including the alderman who's still there the same alderman that was there when they knocked the building down, that they weren't going to do anything. And my thing was, if the city of Chicago does not settle my family's case, then I will flip Chicago red, because this is the worst customer service I've ever had in my life. And that's what I look at it as. A lot of people look at it as the race thing. And yeah, it's racism, but it's also self-hating Blacks who hate other Blacks. And if you're not going to bend the knee for them, then they're going to leave you out here with nothing. And if you don't fight back, then it will continue to happen. So I finally had to align myself with the with the political party. And I independently, because I'm super independent, I want to make that very clear. I independently aligned myself with the Republican Party due to I've already had a Trump term. The Trump term I had, I was living in Georgia, and it was a time for me. I made memories. You know, so the Trump that they got out here, that they I didn't know that my Trump left. Yeah, we were chilling. Yeah,
And I want to say as well, just to piggyback off what Zoe said, me too. And I wasn't really even paying attention to this, but also, even though we were in a heavily blue city, Trump first term, I myself benefited from his presidency and people I know, far as establishing businesses, being business owners because of his what was the opportunity zones and his tax cuts. So if you wanted to do something with your life, then his first term, you definitely was able to, even though you had you were in a Democrat-led city. That's what I experienced as well.
Well, I've always said Trump, first I told black folks, Pharaoh has let you go, right? You got to be a producer, not a consumer. And the Republican policies are for producers.
Yes.
For you to start a business, for the all the tax breaks, and one thing I get mad at the black community, they don't talk about the kids accounts, right? That like we separate, we deal in a emotional style political arena, and we don't deal logical and actually look at the things that benefit us, and then they reject everything that comes from the White House. That's not how, no other ethnic group does that, but the black community, right? Now the question is, have y'all received pushback? Because I've seen, I've watched social media, how they went after Chili, from TLC, and they go after this person and they go after that person, trying to cancel them out. In Chicago, have y'all guys felt that type of pushback when y'all saying Chicago flips red?
Oh yes, we would see. Me personally, my business, I'm a personal trainer, fitness trainer. So of course, I'm in a heavily Democratic ran city. So my base was black women who were and who were Democrats. That's what we are. So of course, when I came out and start talking about how bad the Democratic policies are and what it's doing to our communities, because we all can see it. When I start coming out talking about it, being very vocal about it, and then when we saw all the flood of the illegal aliens, and they took our resources out of our communities and gave it to them, and it was just like, no, we cannot, we have to speak up, because if we don't, it's over for us. So I started speaking up about, because we couldn't allow Biden to get in, then they installed Kamala, and we definitely couldn't allow her to get in. So we were very vocal about that. So I lost all my business, like all the people, they turned. They were black women. They were in their feelings. How can you not support this black woman, and you're black and we support you? It was so much. But God told me when I stood up and said, if you stand for righteousness, because this is why we are here right now, because we know what's right. But for so long, we have been silenced, and we have been silenced because of money, because of scared to be called names, labels. So we have allowed what we know is wrong to plant the earth. We've been silenced, but we have to stand up and say, if I lose everything, I don't care. I have to speak up for what's right. So when I did that, God told me that was going to happen, and he didn't lie, it happened. But in that, what I learned was, you can take everything, because when you're standing up for righteousness, it's not going to be popular. They're going to call you names. You may lose everything, but God is going to show himself mightily in your life, and he's going to be faithful. So of course it was bad in the beginning, but you should see now, what we are seeing now is we are helping the community. They're now saying, you know what, enough is enough. We are getting emails and messages saying, thank you all so much. I didn't see it before. And I want to say this to the people who are like with Chili and what they're doing to Nick Cannon and things. I would care less care less about what they say about, bullying you and what they try to make you apologize. That's the Democratic Party. They're the party of bullies, and they don't and dictatorship. If you don't align with their party, they will bully you, they will retaliate against you, and that's the party of evil. So I can care less what those people say about me.
So
they lost me. I am a loyal person. I love my people so much. I'm a forgiving person, because I know that we are delayed. I know that it's something mentally wrong with us, and because mental health was never pushed in our communities, I don't fault them, but they lost me because they lost me because I'm not going back and forth with you. You understand? Like, I'm not going back and forth with retardation. You understand? I'm not going back and forth with that. But I gained Danielle. And I'm grateful for Danielle because Danielle is getting the message to mainstream. And as bad as they hate it, as bad as, that's what I'm saying. When I get this commercial money, it's over. Exactly. They're trying to hold all the money, but yeah, like I don't blame us because we weren't taught our history we were supposed to. I wasn't taught about freedmen in high school, in elementary. My mother never even taught. My mother is a genius in business. That's why I have a great marketing. I know how to market. I know how to brand. I know because of my mother. But my mother politically ignorant. She didn't know. Yeah, they didn't teach. Yeah, they didn't teach. My mother born in 1949. She was she was 10 years old when civil what was it, Jim Crow ended. So I just feel like we are doing what God has asked us to do, and that is to educate and teach our people to be independent in your choices when it comes to with politics. And the policies right now are democratic socialist policies, and our elected officials who represent us, these Black elected officials that represent us, don't know about socialism because they are DEI. They're incompetent. They do not know nothing. You understand what I'm saying? They should not be in government.
Is that do you think it's for the money? Because politics is about money.
Power.
Power. Right. And where money?
Yeah, it's definitely about the money, because most of your people or your politicians and I call it, I don't like to use socialism because really it's communism. We have to stop, that's just what it is. Right. Most of the people who preach that, they never had a business. They are not the people that understands anything about entrepreneurship or owning a business. They preach that, but yet and still they preach socialism while they get rich off your tax dollars and they take your money. They don't give back to you. So if that was the case, if they really believe what they trying to sell to you, they wouldn't take their salary like President Trump, and they wouldn't be giving themselves raises and benefiting off the six-figure salaries that they have, but they do. And they launder the money through NGOs and nonprofits, and they give it right back to themselves. So they only believe in socialism and communism to keep you poor, all in the while they're the ones who's getting rich off you, because they had $1 million homes. Most of our politicians who preaching that and bring that they're getting rich. They have $1 million homes while they're going up on our taxes and we're losing ours. But they tell you, hey, this is good for you. No, it's good for them.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, tell me about, see, I found out about your sisters with the whole immigration thing in Chicago, you know, because, you know, we got a newspaper, so we got to, you know, I try to conversate from the position of not just New York, but how are Black people responding to policies, national policies throughout different states? Because an issue that might not be in New York will be an issue in Chicago or be an issue someplace else. But I've seen the whole immigrant thing, and my mentors and the books that I read warned us about what immigration will do to Black America if we did not, you know, keep an eye on it. But now they do. So tell the people in New York what y'all sisters were dealing with the illegal immigration issue and how the Black community itself was suffering and the city government wasn't paying attention to it.
Well, I know I was protesting outside for my situation with the city of Chicago knocking down my family building, but
Right.
I kept seeing all of these people going inside of City Hall. So I never made it inside City Hall until like, I don't know, August, September. But my mom lived in Streeterville. And Streeterville is, if you're familiar with the Magnificent Mile, and everybody in Chicago knows about the Magnificent Mile. You know, it used to be like, now my man said it's the Lonely Mile. Donald Trump. But walking from City Hall to Streeterville. Streeterville is one of the most richest cities or the places in. That's where Juicy Smollett got attacked. Yeah. So
everybody know that, right?
Right. And there was a shelter, illegal immigration shelter right in the heart of Streeterville. When I say these are $1 million condos, you've got the building that my mother was staying in. The president of the Chicago Bears lived in there. Taraji Henson, her when she was down there too, her stuff was down there. Like, this is just where everybody's at. Northwestern Hospital, one of the best hospitals, well, supposed to be the best hospitals in this country. And there is a illegal immigration shelter right there. I saw prostitution. I saw drug use. I saw people standing on corners. I saw our young Black men standing on corners, you know, looking around. And I'm saying, this is how we get caught up. We get caught up with the sex trafficking. We get caught up with the prostitution because of things like this. You've got this shelter right here. You have these young, underage, illegal alien women coming from different countries. They don't know what they have. You've got the kids running around. It was like a third world country with iPhones and Jordans. I thought I'd never seen nothing like this before in my life. And I'm like, and people yelling and screaming. I'm like, why is this stuff not on the TV? Like, this is bad. Mainstream media, I talk about none of. I said, they everywhere. Like, what is going on? They were at the police stations. They were everywhere. And you have this stupid mayor and these anti-American cartel-toting progressive Latino politicians and city council down there. They coming. Whether you like it or not, the buses is coming. Keep on coming. We spending $700,000 a day on these shelters. Wow. And the Black aldermen not saying nothing but voting for it. Y'all voting for this to continue to happen.
Wow.
You understand? So when I saw that, and I saw the city pushed back. You know, you got Natasha Dunn. She was one of the first people who got a lawsuit filed so they couldn't put the illegals in the South Shore High School. You had the West Side going in because they were trying to put them in the field houses. Like, this is what Black America should be doing right now. Like, Chicago set the tone of hell nah, because we are the generation. You got Gen X, some Gen X, millennials, and then the boomers that just ain't going. You understand? So they all came together, and that is what Freedom America, Black Chicago should be doing right now when it comes to getting these foreigners out of our country. We are under attack. When I say under attack, we are under attack for everything. Our businesses, our homes, our government. They're trying to overthrow our government, and you guys are worried about Donald Trump bringing in ICE. I want him to shut it down. I want him to invoke the Insurrection Act and shut it down and get all these people up out our country.
Yeah, because because with me, it was to see, like she was saying, my husband was a police officer back then, and he was in to see how they allowed illegal aliens, used to start to sleep in the police stations. Now, he said something that was very profound to me. He said to see that they allowed them to come in. It was kids running around in the police station. They were outside, allowed to cut hair, tents, sell food, drink, do drugs, and just cut hair. Everything, drink, every prostitution. Everything that you couldn't imagine to be allowed as an American citizen, you would be locked up. They were allowed that because they said that was their living headquarters. They brought in bed bugs. They brought in, because we had it was a bed bug thing in a police station where they had to alert that it was bed bugs. They brought in, they placed them in our schools, and then we had a measles outbreak with in the schools. They had tuberculosis, yes. So, but my husband said that was, when he seen that, because he remembered when him as a police officer, when they had the homeless to come in, and it was very cold outside. At a certain time at 6 a.m., they had to kick them out. You had to go. You couldn't stay there in a police station. They let them come in at night, but they kicked them out early in the morning before people came. And for them to allow this, he couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. We were I'm like I said, a personal trainer. Across the street, I have a big park. I would have to, I wanted to have classes for the community to work out with the community. I had to go through so many hoops. You have to go through having a permit, insurance, and things. But when I saw that they allow illegal aliens, they took over the field houses, but they were setting up restaurants. We pay taxes, big taxes. So these are residential areas. They were allowed to set up entire restaurants that sold hot food. They had generators, fry machines, cooking with grease, tables, serving people. I never seen anything like on the street where you got houses at. We couldn't do it because they.
Hold on. You said on the street where you got houses, so you could come out your house and somebody got an old thing set up, cooking food and all that. Really?
A restaurant serving food I'm not talking about like chips and things. I'm talking about French fry machine with grease, a generator right there. So you had it was something. Now to try that, we would have been shut down for sanitation. You have to go, do you have a peddler's license? Do you have all of these things? But they were able to do it. And then you saw more popping up. And it'd be one right here, the other one on the opposite side, then down the street. It was something to see. And when you would call your aldermen to do something about it, they didn't do it. The city wasn't doing anything about it, your mayor. So this was allowed to happen And I'm looking at, we couldn't even get a business loan. We couldn't even get a small business loan because in my house, like I said, we brought a business from President Trump, you know, thanks for the opportunity zone. But we went through so many hoops to get it, the thing that was supposed to be allotted to us. We couldn't get it. But then I started seeing brick and mortar business pop up. So how were they able to get loans and things? Because we had to have a 10-year credit history, 20-year credit history. How much you have in the bank? Have you ever filed bankruptcy? It was so many hoops we had to go through. But yet and still you're seeing these people being here a year or two. Now you're seeing brick and mortar taco businesses pop up right in your community, and they're able to operate 4 restaurants outside, and you knew they were getting snapped. They would be online showing the money they're getting. They'll go buy the food with the SNAP. They're not paying any taxes on the money. Yet our taxes are going up, and we are paying for this. And this is allowed. And if you would call the police, they'll say there's nothing they can do. So it was so out of control. It was no way. We were being pushed out. And then another thing, they were being given so much money to for rent and things until the landlords had started evicting the American citizens and started housing them, because if they would house them, they would get so much. The city was paying so much, $10,000 for 6 months and things if you would house them. So now you saw Americans being kicked out and couldn't find apartment buildings while illegal aliens were being housed. And we were losing our homes. And then you would see illegal aliens start buying your homes. This was in a 2-year period. They even had the nerve. Let me say this real quick, and then I'm going to land my plane. They even had the nerve to be on TV and talk about, this is like a big story they had in Chicago, that illegal aliens were now became homeowners, and the churches helped them buy their first homes with the grants that they received and salvation. Everybody helped them become homeowners, and that was a big thing for the news while we were being displaced and kicked out of our homes. And yeah, they were talking about how great it is for them to become homeowners and have home ownership for illegal aliens.
And Black folks couldn't do the same thing in Chicago. No.
We were getting pushed out of our homes. Do you know, like with the property taxes, that's another way that they displace you, because when the property taxes go up, you understand that most people are on the fixed income, especially if you're retired. And so now you would get your property tax bill. You can't afford it. And then when you go to the city for help, everybody is strategically put in place not to help you. So you'll go to the D's, you'll go to the county and talk about the state assessments. They don't know what to do. Then you go to the city. They don't know what to do. They blame the county. The county is blaming the state. The state is blaming. So by the time you get no help, here come your second installment of property taxes. Now you didn't even take care of that because you didn't have it. So before you know it, adds up, and then you go into foreclosure. And see, now you have citizens that's on the street, and you have those foreclosed, their property is being taken, and now illegal aliens are being helped because of the aldermen in your city councilman, your mayor, there, and your fake churches, helping them get money and grants and things and business loans to get these houses that you used to occupy. So now you have a neighborhood that was predominantly Black, and now you see it's all Hispanics and with illegal aliens. That's what we're trying to show our people. Are you stupid? Are you sick? You can just look outside of your outside. You can see it. We should never have to work this hard to show our people what's happening when they can just look outside and see it.
Because it may be retardation or autism, because they do say there's a lot of autism out here. This might be autism.
And some of it is just denial. You know, and those that are in the political circles don't want to say anything because they don't want to be pushed out, and they don't want to lose what they have. you know, I've always been critical of property taxes, because property taxes, especially here in New York, is the quickest way that Black people lose generational wealth. Is especially our seniors, you know, because you could have bought a house in the 1960s for 130,000, right? You pay it off, you retire in the 70s, but that house in 2026 now is worth 600,000. So now they're taxing you off on 600,000, and you got a fixed income from the 70s.
But
you know, and I paid my way. I paid my way because I didn't have to get a house.
Exactly.
I could have done anything else. I paid my way. So yeah, like no.
And your communities didn't change. Your schoolings are even worse. Your community. So why did my property taxes go up? Everything is significantly worse. And what just happened recently, I don't know if you know, in December, and this is how you know they're targeting us. On the South and West side, which is predominantly Black, our taxes went up, it tripled in some areas. So this is what they do to get you out of your community. And that's what happened. And I see in New York, Madami, he's talking about to pay for his social programs and his socialism. He's talking about going up on property taxes. At what point you understand socialism is nothing is free. It's going to come out your pocket. You're going to be the one, the taxpayers are going to pay for those programs. They're not, the politicians are not going to pay for that. So whenever a politician is offering socialism or something free, it's not free. You're going to pay for it, taxpaying citizens. And then I see Black people on TV in New York talking about, oh, he better not go up on our property taxes. Oh, come on. What you thought? Look at California, look at Chicago, and you all voted Madami in. Come on, what do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's that's the sad thing about it, because black people are not seeing it. And they want to make it a party thing. It's beyond a party thing. It's about just the survival of the Black community and what we need to do as a people. I was mostly an independent. I was one of my mentors, Dr. Julio Cavallo. He was the chairman of the Westchester Independence Party, and Westchester magazine, the white magazine, we Black Westchester, but the white magazine named him the most powerful man in Westchester. Why? Because he picked candidates on interest. If it was Republican or Democrat, a Republican or a Democrat, whatever the interest was the party, and that's where the party went. It wasn't just Democrat one line or Republican one line. The Independence Party used their vote to whatever candidate, whether Republican or Democrat, went with the interests of the party.
Yes.
The only way that I would consider backing a Democrat ever, because like I said, we're the new Republican Party, so we're not asking anybody. They would have to run on ending sanctuary cities and states.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're not going to do that.
Listen, and here's the thing, right? This is my thing with Trump. I'm for ICE enforcement. I question the Democrats because when I was in law enforcement under Obama, they worked with ICE.
Exactly.
They worked with ICE. I was there. Right? I tell people, no, I remember it. Y'all can't tell me no different. ICE came every Thursday to pick the migrants up. Every Thursday.
Oh, you're a correctional officer.
Yeah, I'm correctional.
Yeah.
So every Thursday. We had a holding cell of 20, 30, 10, whatever we had that week, right? And nobody got upset. Wasn't no big rallies across the nation. But the police in New York, if they pulled you over, they ran you. You had an ICE detainer. ICE get you, right? And all of a sudden, Trump get in, and it's all this chaos, right? So I'm like, yo, y'all guys are hypocrites, man, because y'all did it under Obama. Nobody got mad. The Hispanic organizations, right? They call him the deporter in chief.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's still, even all the chaos, Obama's still the #1 deported president.
Right.
And nobody is saying anything. Like, they act like that history didn't exist.
Now let's go a step further. Now Biden opened the border and allow 22 million more over here. So
Exactly.
that's even with Obama. See, they got them out. But now we have 22 million more over here.
Exactly.
So and we see now what they're doing with, like you said,
the ones he deported, they back. The ones he deported, they're back.
And even more. And you expect us to sit there and say, okay, just let them come, let them be here. No, we want 22 million that were allowed over here to go back.
Is right.
And come back the right way, because if you break the law, if I break the law, they're going to say, what is the consequences for that action? What are you going to get if it's 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is? They're going to make sure we as Americans be held accountable for the law we broke, and we just have to suffer the consequences, whatever that may be. But we supposed to now allow 22 million who came over here legally, and now we just say, hey, now we just gonna get the violent criminals. No. Everybody who broke the law, you broke the law.
Exactly.
They came over here illegally and they broke the law.
Do you think that the Democrats have a better messaging mechanism than the Republicans on immigration? Because when you talk to people, they didn't break a law. And it's like, yes, they did. And I give them the federal, they broke this federal law. They broke this federal law, right? So, I mean, is it the marketing?
It's the marketing. That's it. It's the marketing. Like, my mother taught me. That's my mother right here too. Shout out, mom. I was just talking to him. My mom, when I was young, like probably like 10 or 11, I remember my mom telling me about Tide detergent and McDonald's. She used these two corporations as an example. She says, you see their commercials all the time. McDonald's doesn't never have to do a commercial, but they still do commercials. Tide will never have to do a commercial, but they still do commercials. Advertising is the number one thing. The Republican Party do not do any advertisement on the TV. My mother's 77 years old. My mother watches TV. She watches TV all the time. Danielle, she watches TV all the time. She's not the only one. My godfather is 82 years old. He watches TV. They watch TV. They need when Raja and Juliana Stratton was going against each other, every other one, they both Democrats for the Senate seat. Every time a commercial break, you seen their commercials. I can tell you one governor candidate for the Republican Party did one commercial. He did one commercial. You see what I'm saying? We have to, they have the money. That's the crazy thing. They have the money. Donald Trump was he was the one who honestly saved the Republican Party. The Republican Party was dying, okay? It was dying on oxygen. It was on life support. It was done. He gave it oxygen, okay? He got the younger people rocking with him. You've got the older people rocking with him. You've got the middle-aged people rocking with him because he's Donald Trump. Not President Donald Trump, this is Donald Trump, the Trump Tower, one of the best massages that you can go. If you go to any Trump Tower in the country. If you want a good massage, that they have them. This is the Trump that when you go luxury, when you think about luxury fine dining, you think of the Trump Tower. You think you save up all your money to make sure you can get a weekend with the girl that you want to marry. Where you gonna take her? To the Trump Tower, to the Ritz Carlton.
You about to get people in New York. You about to give them a heart attack.
Yeah, so
they're gonna be like, David, what's wrong with you? What do you mean?
So the name recognition he already had. He was an influencer. He is a definition of a socialite, an influencer, and a businessman. So the Republican Party, if you guys cannot find anybody that's going to do the same thing he did, but Trump is only one, and Trump is one and done. It will never be another Trump. Like it'll never be another Dick Gregory. Like it'll never be another Chicago Flips Red. Like it'll never be. But you know what I'm saying? But the saying that to say is you have marketing, advertisement. If you do not do that, then that's the problem. People try to talk about Chicago Flips Red, and they say stuff like, they just want they just want influence online. What we built a political grassroots movement from going down to City Hall, calling out the corruption and speaking on the failed policies of the Democratic Party. No one else has ever done that.
Right.
You know, so we in this generation, and to make sure that you put it on social media. I had no choice but to start putting our 3 minutes on social media because we weren't getting any time from none of the media. Mainstream media would reach out to us. You know, I asked, you know, I would always shout out my brother Charlemagne. I know that he is a Democrat shield. But if it wasn't for Charlemagne getting me 30 minutes on the Breakfast Club to discuss the injustices that was happening and letting me rock out to talk about how terrible the Democratic Party was, then I would not have got to 107,000 people that watched it in the first 5 days without me even. You know, he didn't even let me do no introduction or anything. But that's because people knew that it was a problem. Like people know that it's a problem. But the mainstream media is lying. And then you have the Al Sharptons and, you know, Jesse Jackson and the rest of these people who sit on the front line and lied. And played us. Then we got the Jamal Bryants, and then we have the Angela Rise and the Abby Phillips and the Joy Reeds and the Roland Martin and all them.
It's horrible.
Yes, they want to call us coons. Want to call us coons, and we're tap dancing. No, y'all are tap dancing. Y'all are coons. Y'all are leading us in that burning building that Dr. King had to acknowledge the day before he died. That's where he was leading us. You still brought us in there. With the help of Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson still took our hands and said, let's go now, because they need their checks.
I think that, real quick, I think that the messaging, and me and Zoe keep saying that the Republican Party need to have somebody, like we always say, you know how they have the press secretary, Carolina Lovett, they need to have a black one, seriously.
No,
because everybody knew Trump back in the day. We knew him. We loved him. All the black people loved Trump back in the day. And I think that he needs to have somebody to carry his message or the Republican message to the black community, in the brown community. I think that's what it is. They're missing that right there, far as bringing that message here. So they need to maybe hire somebody who's in tune with the community, in tune with, how to speak the language.
Michaela Montgomery. I'm going to say Michaela Montgomery. Like Michaela Montgomery needs to be right there next to Caroline Levitt.
And do the outreach.
for
and
us.
have people like organizations like yours, mine, and things like that. So when they come to Chicago and these heavily democratic cities and stuff, get with us and maybe we hold a panel or something and just talk
Listen,
to the community.
I've reached out. I'm in New York. You know, it's heavily blue. You know, I came when I started corrections in 1990, and it was a balance. It was always a balance between the Democrats and the Republicans, right? It was always split, right? You know, we had, you know, Republican governors. You know, New York had Republican governors before. Like Republicans are not new, you know. They started, the Republican Party in New York started selling their soul. They started switching over to the Democrats, right? Because they saw that the Democrats might have had more voter registration by numbers. So they just started leaving the Republican Party. Many, especially Westchester County, many of the Democrats are old Republicans that just switched over because that's where the numbers is at. And a lot of times, and I tell Black people, you know, because I was in the Independence Party, a lot of times when you go to these white folks' houses, the husband is a Republican, the wife is or vice versa. And they throw fundraisers for both parties. So whoever win, they win. Now, the Republicans in New York, and maybe the Republicans nationwide, they need to start talking to Black people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what is the problem. Are you scared? Like, what is the
history? They know the history. So the education system, we all need to. When I say we all need reparations from the education system, because history, they weren't teaching white people about the freedmen. You know, say the freedmen, the Civil War, the radical Republicans. You know, they talked about Abraham Lincoln, but they didn't talk about, you know, the significance of Abraham Lincoln when it comes to us. And the same with white people. So a lot of these people who think that they're Republicans historically. They have no clue what's going on. So a lot of them will fight back when it comes to the slavery issue. Oh my God, all you guys want to do is talk about slavery. But then the Democratic Party has pounced the slavery so much and about we're going to get our reparations and we're going to get these studies. But that's a scam because y'all stealing all the reparation scam and study money. All of it's a scam. So the Republicans act like the Republicans don't speak and don't get out in community because the Democratic Party had the Blacks in the Democratic Party, the elites, the Boulay, the Maxine Waters, the doo-doo of the Democratic Party have pounded that any white business man who and from the South is a redneck and a Republican, and they are not, and they are the KKK, and they are out to get every Black person. Right. So because that is the narrative, and that is what they have their claim to fame. And even with my friends and stuff, I go back and forth with them. You know, Republicans is just racist. So you're going to sit here and tell me Bernie Sanders isn't racist? You're going to sit here and tell me that Joe Biden isn't racist? You're going to sit here like, no, racism is here. But right now we're dealing with classism and we're dealing with policies that do not make any sense to Black people because they've been killing us for so long on the Democratic Party. We have two parties. It's the independent party. We're not ready. Y'all can't even independently be okay with it being two parties and Black. We should split it. Black people should be split. We're 13% still. I was talking to somebody. They said we've been 13% population for forever because of Margaret Sanger. Thank you.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So if we're still 13%, you telling me we can't split that half? And half go over to the Republican Party and the other half stay with the Democrats if that's what you want to do?
Really?
Or go to the Independent Party?
We have enough numbers to control both. And the truth of the matter is it wasn't Democrats that started reparations, they were Republicans.
That's it. That's
And
it.
that's the messaging that there's the what. So that's the messaging that the Black Republicans are scared, that are in politics, are scared to talk about because of a Tim Scott, because of that. So when I came in here, and that's
Exactly.
another reason why I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely Republican. Read the
Exactly.
U.S. Constitution. Like this is the reason. Like this is why we don't have our economic resources. We're not associating with the. Yeah, y'all gotta run us our money.
Listen, it was the Black Republicans that fought for reparations for the
Yeah.
free slaves. They also fought for pensions for the free slaves after the Civil War. These were Black men and women that were in the Republican Party. How do we erase that?
How are they taking our 40, the same 40 acres and a mule that Abraham Lincoln was trying to give us before they shot him? Right?
Right.
Now they're literally taking our 40 acres and a mule now. They're taking our homes, they're taking our businesses, they're taking everything that we were never even handed to. We still had to get it ourselves.
I think what it is, and I pretty much know, seriously, guys, they don't really have a clue how to message to us. They were like right now in Chicago, this is what we are saying. It's a lot of things that they could jump right now with what's going on, where is the marketing standpoint. When our taxes just came out, but we got those high property taxes, they could have got with Chicago Plus Red. We could have threw a press conference. We could have been, it would have been white and blacks, Republicans. We could have had town halls in the community where the property tax skyrocket and just held so they can see, a coalition of us together. They don't know how to interact. They don't know. It's like we have to tell them what they should be doing. They don't really know, guys. I'm serious. They really don't know how to if it was for Donald Trump reviving that party, they don't know how to do it. They don't really have a clue. Just the only reason why Republicans even have a chance in Chicago and Illinois is because we made the ground fertile because of the things we did. But they don't even monopolize on what we have done. They can come in right now and just like you said, just hammer the illegal alien scam and how they took our money and how they displacing us. They can get with groups like us. They see we out here. Oh my gosh, Chicago Plus Red, they're Black and they're talking to the community. Let's make sure we latch on to them, go in the community with them because we really don't know how to message to them and just stand with them and let them lead. And we can just be in a tell what we would do different. They don't have.
Let me tell you how delayed these politicians, these Republican politicians here, and the candidates and all that. This is why they are. That's why they're gonna lose every time. You got Chicago Plus Red. I mean, we out here on the cross getting crucified. Two women getting crucified. You want us to stand with you. You want us to be our messenger. You want us to be our DEI, but the main issue that I'm dealing with is I have a housing crisis. The city of Chicago refuses to settle my case. They've knocked down our building. They've took my mother's voucher in retaliation with me going down there. They're literally trying to push me out of this city so I can go somewhere else. I can go anywhere else. You understand? Florida's welcoming me. Texas is welcoming. All these red states welcome me. You can hear. We'll get you a place. But this city, these Republicans and stuff refuse to even try to figure out how can they get us some type of housing or even stand with me to sue because there's a law here that as being homeless or unhoused, a person cannot. The city and the state have to get you whole housing. Wow. But they want you to be out here on the front line like we've always been for nothing.
Wow.
For nothing.
Exactly. Now I want y'all to make with people that are listening, right? Because Anton Daniels talking about he ain't Black and all this other stuff. But y'all keep your Blackness while y'all representing the Republican Party. You're not losing. You're still standing on who you are as Black.
I love us. We are the culture. We are America. Let me tell you something. We are the seasoning. We are the lorries. We are the lorries.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm very proud of my family. I'm very proud of all the accomplishments that our heroes. Dick Gregory is my mentor. Dick Gregory taught me. Dick Gregory is the one who told me the last year, the year he passed away, save yourself. Save yourself.
That's right.
And I am, but I'm well, and I want to, but I'm a public servant as well. So I want to make sure that everybody comes with us. But I'm not stopping. Danielle is not stopping because we see the problem. And we're not going to sit here and keep talking about the problem. We're going to get to the root cause.
That's right.
And we're not waiting for anybody to come and say for approval or to say, give us permission to do what we do. See, the problem is that's why you have, like you said, I'm so tired of hearing Black people, what the Republican Party going to do for us, what they going to do. We're not waiting on them to do anything from us. We're the new Republican Party. Like Donald Trump said, Donald Trump, when he first came in, you see how he called them out? The established Republicans hated Donald Trump, and they still hate him now because, CFR is the new People's Party. We don't need permission for anybody to talk about the things that's happening in our community and what's happening. We don't know what you're going to do for us. We're not waiting. We're going to keep on the mission because we're going to get in office ourselves and do what's necessary. So I can care less about what the Republican Party want or accept, because if they had the answers or could, they would have been did something. They haven't won nothing in Chicago since 1931. So you think I'm gonna wait for a party? You think I'm gonna wait for that party to lead me and tell me what to do? Never.
While the foreigners are taking care of, they're taking. When I say they take it over everything. It's like, oh my God, Wingstop, 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donut, Burger King, like all your Airbnbs. I'm at an Airbnb now. Foreigners, like they take it over everything.
We don't care about we don't care. We don't care who don't like it, who don't accept it. We're not asking, we're just doing it. Whoever's going to get on board, you better get on board. If you're not, oh well. This is what it is. It's CFR. Right. People trust CFR. They may not trust the Republican Party. They're done with the Democratic Party. They say, but we trust you all. We can care less about anybody.
We have enough allies that are foreigners who have assimilated to American culture that see the problem. We have enough white conservative allies that see the problem and want to see the change, and we have enough Blacks and a lot of Blacks that are every day we're getting more Blacks and starting to say, like, you know what? I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about them, but they ain't lying. You know what I'm saying? They ain't lying. Wow. And that's all I care about. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to align. You don't have to like me. As I got my friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in here to make friends. I'm in here to make sure the policies make sense, because my mother taught me policy is everything. That's one thing my mother's always said. My mother said, if it's not in the policy, you can sue them. And she got that from John Johnson, right? John Johnson from Ebony Magazine.
Right. She right.
Yeah.
Right. She absolutely right. I was a union delegate for 13 years, and you got to know the policy, right? And if it's not in the policy, then y'all messed up, you know. So she's absolutely right. Let me ask you guys a question. For people, because y'all got known going to the city council meetings and letting the mayor have it, right? On important issues. When I lived in Mount Vernon, I used to go to the city council meetings, and it'd be more white people from the north side than Black people from the south side. So, this is a Westchester blog and Westchester newspaper. Talk to the Black folks in Westchester, how it's important to go to these city council meetings.
It's a must.
I think it's so important, because if they actually went and saw how they were laundering their money and spending their money, and saw why their communities look the way they look, because the money that's allocated to the community never makes it. If they would come and see that, if they would see how illegal aliens fill the chambers up and advocate for everything they want and the resources, and how the aldermen vote for them to have everything, but how they vote for everything that's destroying us. I think if they came in and saw for themselves, then Chicago Flips Red would not have to work as hard as we do to just educate the people. We just say, okay, you know what? If you don't believe us, if you cannot stand Chicago Plus Red because we support Trump, just come into the city council meetings and just sit there and see for yourself. Because if you see for yourself, then it's nothing we don't even have to tell you anything. You're going to be coming to us. Like, I can't believe you just sit there in disbelief. Some of the things, when you hear them talk about, they would talk about the Black plight, but then they would put everybody else in and lump them in with us and give them everything, but they'll use our stacks and our plight. The thing, but you would be so infuriated just the fact to see, like, how dare you all? They just think stupid, and then they can get on the news and say it's, and just blame white supremacy and Trump when you just saw them vote for everything that was going to hurt your community and then get up there and blame Trump. If they came in and just sat there and paid attention, then we wouldn't have, our job would be so much easier, but they don't. So we would say it's so important to be there because everybody else is there. The Jewish community, the Hispanic community, the Asian community, everybody is there advocating for and holding their aldermen accountable for what they want. And they're going to say, if you don't give us this, if you vote for something that's not in our best interest, you won't have that seat come next election. And when they are being held accountable, they make different choices. Even with us coming down there for the years we've been down there and putting the pressure on the aldermen and holding them accountable, they're just not reckless with their vote no more. They looking at us like, oh my God, they're gonna go back and tell and show. So they're just not voting recklessly. So you have to hold these people accountable and then tell them you're going to be voted out of office if you don't. If we see you vote anything that's going to hurt us, you're out of there, and we have to do it. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. It's a must.
Yeah. Listen, sisters, we've been on here for an hour.
Yes.
And I thank you for your time. I thank you for your time. And before I end, say what's up to the Black folks in Westchester County, New York. Give them a shout out, because this is going to be played, and many people that's going to watch might have saw y'all on social media, but never really had a chance to hear y'all guys. So just give Black folks in Westchester County a wave for me, so they can see these beautiful Black sisters that's holding it down in Chicago. And how do they get in touch with y'all guys? If anybody's watching, they want to get in touch, how can they get in touch with y'all?
Flipsred.com is our website.
Okay.
And then we're on social media, Chicago Flips Red, Facebook, Flip Chicago Red on X, and then Chicago Flips Red on TikTok and Instagram. And then mine is Mr. Steal Your Wig 1, my personal emails. And I'm from New York, from Albany, New York. I know Westchester very well. I know Mount Vernon very well. I know Bedford Correctional Facility very well. I know Taconic. I know. I've been, I did a little something.
Yeah.
Friendlies in Westchester.
My mother says she used to go to Friendlies ice cream in Westchester. So yeah, so shout out to New York. I love y'all. I'm born and raised in Albany, New York. So yeah, so I'm not, and so yeah, so it is what it is. But yeah, y'all, we gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. We dictate our lives.
That's right.
Let me say this. we have a Philly Flips Red chapter. We would love to come down there to New York, and you all start New York
Westchester
Flip
Flip
Red.
Red.
Oh, well, yeah, West, yeah, Flip Red.
Because
Yeah.
we're gonna start doing forums. We're gonna start really bringing people, having honest conversations, man, and hold Black folks' feet to the count to the fire of accountability. So you got my information, I got your information. We're gonna stay in touch because we're gonna try to build this bridge. And I really enjoyed the conversation. Like I told y'all, I was already a fan. I was watching your sisters do your thing out there, man. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Thank you for having us on
Thank you
here.
for
Thank you
having us,
so
and we'll
much.
come back anytime. These are very
Yeah.
important, and like Mr. Gregory said, if we don't do these, if we don't get, especially predominantly, that's focused, Black focus, then we're really not. What are we doing? You understand? Like we can go on Fox all the time, we can go on Newsmax all the time, but if we don't get our people and our channels the information, then we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, sisters. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. And I'll send you the link when the show comes up. It'll be 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. And
All
Thank you
right.
so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Love
Hey.
you, New York.
there you go.
Yeah.
And that's the show, brothers and sisters. Thanks for enjoying this conversation here at Black Westchester, the publisher's desk, and it's Chicago Flips Red. They're just not speaking out. They're changing the political atmosphere in Chicago. And I want to thank Zoe Leigh and Danielle Carter for joining us tonight. This has been the publisher's desk, and I'm Damon K. Jones, powered by Black Westchester Magazine, blackwestchester.com. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay Blacktastic. Peace out.
Appreciate you taking the time to engage with real conversations, real issues, and real perspectives that matter to Black America. Stay connected, stay informed, and as always, we'll see you next time at the publisher's desk. It's going to be Blacktastic. If you're serious about political clarity and independent thinking, this is for you. The Political Thought Bundle includes 3 full books, all personally signed. Democrats and Republicans, The Ultimate Gangbangers, breaks down how the two-party system operates like a legalized street war for power. Emotional Politics, Logical Failure exposes how emotion has replaced strategy in Black political engagement. Tolerance is for Coward lays out a blueprint for extended policing and community-led public safety rooted in outcomes rather than slogans. 3 signed books. One bundle, $60. That's a $75 value. And you're getting signed copies included. This isn't left versus right. It's results versus rhetoric. Go to twosteppublishing.com and secure your signed political thought bundle today. It's going to be Blacktastic. For more than a century, Black America built its own economy under segregation, under discrimination, and under conditions most people today cannot imagine. We built businesses, we built banks, we bought land and property. In The Forgotten Blueprint, Damon K. Jones reveals how Black communities created thriving economic systems from 1800 to 1965, and why that blueprint still matters today. This book challenges the idea that our future depends on politics alone and shows how ownership, family, and enterprise once powered Black prosperity. The blueprint is not lost. We just stopped using it. The Forgotten Blueprint, how Black America built its own economy from 1800 to 1965. On sale now at Two Step Publishing and Amazon. Black Westchester Magazine has been giving our community a voice, reporting the stories others ignore, holding power accountable, and making sure the truth about our communities is told by us. But independent Black media only survives when the community supports it. If you believe in real journalism, community accountability, and keeping Black voices strong in local news, we need your help. Your donation helps us continue covering the stories that matter: politics, education, justice, and economic empowerment right here in Westchester. Support Black media, support Black truth, support Black Westchester Magazine. Donate today and help keep Black media alive. Because Black-owned independent media is Blacktastic. Black Westchester Magazine presents People Before Politics, The Sunday Rundown, every Sunday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Join Damon K. Jones, AJ Woodson, and Larnez Kinsey as they break down the biggest stories in politics, culture, and community from a Black point of view. No spin, no party loyalty, just logic, accountability, and outcomes. If it impacts Black America, we're talking about it. Tap in, subscribe, set your reminder. This Sunday at 6 p.m. is going to be Blacktastic.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.